Hello and welcome again to the Mud Pie. We continue our studies in the book of Psalms, and today we come to a quite enlightening psalm, Psalm number 3, and I mean by that we'll get into some doctrinal things here in this psalm that may well ruffle a few feathers. We'll see. But we come now to the Word of God as we read it in the King James 1611 Bible. Psalm 3, a psalm of David when he fled from Absalom his son. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God, Selah. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill, Selah. The context is 2 Samuel chapters 15 and 16. The word Selah, verse 4, warns us that we are in a second Advent context. The word Selah occurs 71 times in the Psalms, in 40 different Psalms, and is found 3 times more in Habakkuk chapter 3, where the entire chapter is on the second Advent. Most commentators, in line with Alexandria, make it to be only and simply a musical interlude. The Septuagint says pause, thus establishing the so-called historic position. The word means nothing of the sort. The word refers to a rock or a cliff, as in Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 31, or as in the word Selah, S-E-L-A, or Petra. Petra, a rock city in Edom, or as in Selah, Hamalekoth, or the rock of escapes. The word, as in the Psalms, means to hang up, or to tread down, if it comes from the Selah that ends in the word Heth, or in the book, the alphabetic letter Heth, instead of he. The word ending in ayin, A-Y-I-N, occurs in Psalm 18 verse 2, Psalm 31 verse 3, and Psalm 42 verse 9. There can be no doubt about the similarity at all, for it is a reference to a city of refuge for a murderer in the tribulation time. The Christ killers, see Deuteronomy 21, can flee there, and they will. There is another reason why the term rock occurs so many times in Deuteronomy chapter 32. Psalm 60 verses 8 and 9 and Psalm 108 verse 10 both spell out the connection in English. Observe. Number 1, when David flees from Absalom, he is fleeing from one of the greatest types or pictures of the son of perdition in the Bible. See 2 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 18, the so-called father of peace. Secondly, as the Jews will, he flees into the wilderness, Revelation chapter 12 verse 6 and Hosea chapter 2 verse 14, where he is fed, Revelation chapter 12 verse 6, and the small book of Micah, chapter 7, the verses 13 through 14. Thirdly, the conditions of verses 6 and 7 are the conditions of the second coming. Now, granted that the word Selah, S-E-L-A-H, can indicate a pause in the singing, one would have to be an idiot to think that 110 psalms did not have a single pause in them, although they were twice, sometimes 3 times as long as Psalm 3. Verse 1 is evident. It often happens in the life of a Christian leader. Martin Luther at one time faced a minimum of 2 million adversaries. Men like John Knox, J. Frank Norris, Mordecai Ham faced literally thousands. Luther said that he would go to the diet at Worms, though there be as many devils as tiles on the rooftops. Adino the Esnite took on 800 men in one battle and killed them all, 2 Samuel 23 verse 8. Samson's jawbone killed another 1,000, Judges 15 verse 16, and in the end time the entire world will be gathered against Israel, Zechariah chapter 14 verse 2. And this coalition is taking place right now, with Russia and Rome leading the way. Verse 2 of this psalm is what the nations will say about Israel. It is what Job's comforter said about him, and what the enemies of Christ said when he was on the cross. See Matthew 27 verse 43. The word Selah warns the reader that he is dealing with a second Advent reference. Notice how verse 4 matches Jonah's petition and confession in Jonah chapter 2, the verses 2 through 7. Note again the immediate repetition of the holy hills, verse 4, just mentioned in Psalm 2, verse 6. The Lord is there at the Advent. Notice the exact comments by the author in Amos chapter 1, verse 2, and Joel chapter 3, verse 16. Now back to our psalm. Psalm chapter 3 and verse 5 and 6. I laid me down and slept. I awakened, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. God sustains the saint when he is sleeping. If God does not sustain you, you will wake up dead, like in 2 Kings 19, verse 35. God must sustain you not only on your sleeping bed, but your marital bed, your sick bed, and your death bed. He said he would make all your bed in your sickness, and the marriage bed was undefiled. Jacob died in bed, Genesis 49, verse 33. One king was murdered in bed, 2 Samuel chapter 4, verse 7. And the bride of Christ thought about him while she was in bed. See the Song of Solomon, chapter 3, and verse 1. You can make your bed in darkness or in hell, Job 17, verse 13, and Psalm 139, verse 8. And you can howl on your bed or make it swim with tears, Hosea chapter 7, verse 14, and Psalm chapter 6, verse 6. Verse 6 says, I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. This reiterates verse 1 of this psalm. According to the Mosaic covenant, 2 Jews could put 10,000 people to flight. Gideon puts 135,000 to flight, Judges 8 verse 10, and kills 120,000 of them. That is 1 Jew running off 450 enemies. Psalm chapter 3 verse 7 and 8. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for thou hast smitten all mine enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. And in verse 8 we read, Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. And there we have that word again, Selah. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God. Note this prayer for the second Advent as it occurs over and over again in the Psalms. I'll give you some examples. Psalm 7 verse 6, Psalm 9 verse 19, Psalm 10 verse 12, Psalm 17 verse 13, Psalm 74 verse 22, Psalm 82 verse 8, and Psalm 132 verse 8. Isaiah told you that the Advent would match Gideon's massacre of the Midianites. See Isaiah chapter 9 verse 4 and Isaiah chapter 10 verse 26. And Gideon is told, Arise, get thee down. Judges 7 verse 9 and verse 15. The words thou hast smitten is prophecy. It is prophecy exactly as he was wounded. In Isaiah 53 verse 5 is also prophecy. God is going to knock the teeth out of the lions. See Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 17, the lions that come against Israel. Thy blessing is upon thy people. This is the match to Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 43, and has nothing to do with David's personal deliverance. The New Bible translators and most commentators have no idea at all what this psalm is all about. The NIV destroys the blessing on Israel by making it to be a prayer. And I quote, May thy blessing be upon thy people, end quote. A proper exposition of this psalm would have told you that salvation is of the Jews, John chapter 4 verse 22, and belongeth unto the Lord, for the Jews are his people.